Hey there. We're going to talk real quick here about when you know you should leave, you want to leave, you are trying to consider leaving a toxic relationship or a narcissistic person, and you are struggling with waiting for the next worst thing to happen. And you're like, okay, the next thing that happens, I'm out of here. Okay, if only they do these things. Well, they've never physically done anything. Well, they've never cheated on me. Well, and you're waiting for the worst thing to happen before you're ready to leave the toxic relationship. So I'm Lise Colucci, and I am here to help you understand and recover from, heal from toxic relationships and to transform your life after you've been with narcissistic people or been in toxic relationships. Okay, so this is going to be a short live stream about this. What is the breaking point? What is the thing for you right now that is keeping you in the relationship with a toxic person? And what is the thing you think you're waiting for to make the move to leave? For some people, it's financial. They feel financially stuck, or they are financially stuck, or they're being financially, abused by a toxic person. And for some people, that's all it is. For some people, it's hope. It's waiting for them to just make a change because they see little changes in this toxic person every now and then, and they gives them an ounce of hope. For other people, it's their self-esteem. They feel so lost to who they are. And I have to say, that's the easiest one to work on if you find help and someone to work with you on helping you recreate your self-esteem. I know it sounds funny, but it really is one of the more, it's because it's about you. You're able to actually do something about it because you're the only one who's going to make change in this relationship if you're with a toxic person. And the change toward a better feelings of self that then helps you leave a situation, what could be better than that, right? So what else? What are other reasons? Hey, you guys that are coming in, what other reasons what's keeping you there? And if you're watching this on replay, I mean, these are questions to ask yourself so that you understand, not to beat yourself up, not to judge yourself. Please don't go there, because that's not what this is about. You start judging yourself in these situations. Oh, I'm so stupid. I know I should leave. Oh, whatever. Judging yourself, it's just creating more of the same problem. Okay, so let's stop that and let's move toward what is it that you can do to get through this. I've got teeny puppies here that are little rescue puppies that were sent to me to be cared for, and they're squeaking. So I'll bring them and show you guys at the end if I have time. But anyway, because puppies, I mean, right? That helps with the trauma bonding. So trauma bonding, that's a reason, right? There's a reason to stay because you're so full of cognitive dissonance, you can't see through, right? And you can't see your way out. Fear locks people in place. A lot of times people get in, okay, when you have fear and when you've been traumatized and when you've been in toxic relationships, what happens? You start living in your amygdala. Fight, flight is your way, baby. That's the life you live right now, right? Like you're always in it. And when you're in fight, flight, where's logic? Woohoo, way back in the back. It's not functioning. Where's your sense of what you want for your life? Where's your ambition? Where's your agency and your will? It's gone because you're so trapped in the trauma bond, right? So getting through the trauma bond, and I've made a series of videos, or I will be, about helping you heal from trauma bonding. So please hit subscribe and the thumbs up and all of that if you want information. If you want to hear further conversations about trauma bonds, they'll be coming up this week and next week. So, okay. So when you are in these relationships and you're like, how do I get out? Okay. So those are some reasons. Your reason's going to be your own, right? You're your own person. And then what? What do you do? Because the thing is, we're always waiting for the next worst thing to happen. We're always giving chances. We are loyal people and we're trauma bonded and we are thinking it's our fault. And we are, I'm not sure what that little symbol is. That looks like a sunshine. Hey, Tanya. Yeah. So if you are stuck, what are you going to do to make the decision to step away from these relationships? Well, that's why people come in here, right? They come in here and they talk about, working their way through it. And that's one thing. So please come back and talk later. I know I just came on here last minute, so it won't be today. But it's important to start looking at what you want for your life. It's important to start seeing yourself separate from that toxic person. Okay. There's an enmeshment that happens when you're with narcissistic people or toxic people in your life that makes your mind constantly trying to micromanage the situation or manage the situation so that you're not being hurt by them, so that you're not you're trying to stay one step ahead of them all the time to keep everything smooth sailing, right? And to keep things as calm as they can to mitigate any narcissistic reactions that that person might have. And you are trying to control it that way instead of controlling yourself and your own, or not even controlling, allowing yourself to have choice, freedom, right, within it. And there are situations you can't get out of. I'm not talking about those. I'm talking about when people can't seem to make themselves leave even if they want to. I'm not talking about situations right now, right in this talk, about situations where someone like legitimately can't get out of it, or the narcissism is coming from the outside, or it's coming from, like a workplace or an institution or something like that, that you're stuck inside the system of. I'm talking more about the interpersonal kind where you can't get out even though the door's wide open and you have absolute choice to do so. All right. So Jay is asking, how can I keep from going back? Same way you learn to move through it. You focus on self. Okay. And I don't mean be selfish. What I mean is focus on your needs because you're the one living this life. Focus on, okay, so how do you stop from going back? All right. They're hoovering. Let's just give an example. They're hoovering. Hey, everything's changed, baby. It's all good. Whatever they're saying to you, right? Whoever they are. If it's a parent, they're like, I see the wrong in my ways. I just want a good relationship with you, whatever they're saying, right? To try and suck you back in. First of all, see it for what it is. It is someone trying to suck you back in so that they can take what they need from you. They don't think about the relationship and how it was. Were they a person who was interacting with you in a loving way that allowed you space to be yourself? They could be themselves and you interacted together in support back and forth with the other person. My guess is everyone's going, not even a little right now. Okay. That is what the relationship will always be with them. Remember, they need to control the way the world sees them, the way the world, the way you function in relationship with them. They are living in a delusion that they are the only thing that matters, and that their way is what should be imposed on everyone around them. And so they create a world around them that fits their needs, and then they suck the supply out of you in the meantime. So know that that's what's going to happen if you go back. There's no changing that. And I'd ask you, Jay, right now, what's making you want to go back? And I totally get it. I know I'm asking it very bluntly, but I know there's like a million reasons for each person. There's going to be an individual pull that makes you. Some people feel empathy and they feel guilty. Okay. Let me tell you right now, if you're feeling guilty, that doesn't come from empathy, period. Empathy and guilt are two separate things. We think we feel guilty because we feel empathy, because we feel bad the person hurts, but that is not what is happening. The empathy allows you to see that they are a human being with their own experience in life, and have the guilt is coming because you've been indoctrinated into believing that it's your responsibility for everyone else's happiness. And that is simply not true. Okay. That is way too big a burden for any human being to take on, for anyone. Would you want somebody, your neighbor, to be responsible for your happiness? No. Right? Like, let them be their own person. But yeah. Okay. Because I could not make it work after 25 years. And you think what? I'm going to put words in your mouth because we can't talk back and forth right now. So tell me if I'm wrong and steer me the right way, Jay. So you think something like, perhaps I couldn't make it work, and if I go back one more time, maybe I can, because I've learned all this stuff about myself and I've learned about narcissism. And so maybe now I can fit this odd shaped object into the other shape object and make it work. right? Is that right? I can just squeeze all the life out of myself, right? And put myself in the box they need me in, and I can just make it work. Is that right? Or is there something else because you could not make it work? And Chris is saying this is so good for those people getting out. So glad to be out. Oh my gosh, no kidding, right? So tell me, Chris, what was it for you that was so hard to leave? If you remember, what was it for you? I can say that the narcissist often fills your head with thoughts like there is no one that's going to love you the way I love you. No one will ever accept you the way I accept you. No one will ever treat you the way I treat you. In which, from a distance, you're like, yeah, no one ever will. That's right. Right. But in the moment, they're feeding you with the glamorous good side of them, the shiny parts, right? That is all a lie anyway, because it's all manipulation to keep you there. And then they are making you believe something's wrong with you and that you're never going to have anything normal or healthy outside of them. Everything I said Chris, it's all of it, isn't it? It's not one thing. That's the other thing. Sometimes this is just not one thing. It's a lot of things. It's a lot of little things that keeps you stuck. It can be that it's always been this way. My whole life's been this way. What do you mean, get out of it? Get out of my life? What are you talking about? This is how life is. This is how people treat me. Why would it be different? And even when people are saying, you deserve so much more, you're such a good person, you're so beautiful, you're so good, you're so wonderful. And you're like, and that's been proven to me how? Because everything in life's always been this way. And that can be super confusing because that means you have to see life in a whole new way and learn that what you've learned about life, it's all been wrong. Right. And so, which is actually an amazing thing because that means you have an opportunity to have a better life. But it's also a really conflicting thing for the way your mind is functioning now. Jay says, I remember things wrong and things didn't happen. But yes, you're right. That is gaslighting. So he is good at the gaslighting and your mind is good at believing the gaslighting. So tell your mind, we're going to try something new. We're going to listen to what we know, not what he says. Okay. It's really about coming into relationship with self so that you can make actual choice. Narcissists mind brainwash you, right? Into believing things. They gaslight you. They manipulate you. They manipulate you to do what they want, period. And they use the tactic that works. So for you, know that what people tell you about you affects you. So let me tell you some things about you. You are a person who can learn to make choice. You have the strength to get through this. Okay? You can do this. You can tell them no. You can set boundaries. He truly thinks it's all my fault. And this is the thing. We cannot worry about what they think. It's probably right because he's operating from delusion. So if I am so egotistical that I need to believe everything I say is right, if I say the sky is purple, it's purple. Does that make sense? That's how they function. They function from ego, and their ego cannot be shattered, or they fall on the ground like a screaming toddler, lose their minds, attack everything around them just to bring balance back so their precious little ego is protected. And then once it calms down, then they're like, yeah, I did that, right? It's all about protecting ego. The reason we all have ego, it's just that they operate from it. They function from it because they lack empathy for others. They cannot relate in a compassionate way that is inclusive of others' realities. Then they function within that reality, which means to him, it is your fault because you didn't believe his lies, because you actually had an opinion, because you had a voice that was different than his in a moment, because you saw the crap he was doing and you said something, or you didn't say something, but you were sad from it, right? Because you had a reaction that is human and your own reaction to the bad things that they do. Suddenly that's your fault. Well, yeah, it's your fault because you're a human, right? Because you're a person. You're not the puppet he wants you to be. Why would you want to be that, right? So these are the things to think about, really, that this is not a normal, healthy relationship. You're not dealing with someone who is who has your well-being at heart. They have their own well-being. And that's it. And they will include you in that well-being when they are love bombing you, when in their minds everything is running according to plan, their way, full steam ahead. That's how narcissists operate in relationships. It's pretty standard. So you got to stop listening to the things he says. And when your mind is repeating it back to you, you tell yourself, oh, yes, those were his words. That's an interesting point of view he had. Not my point of view. You see what I'm saying? You find out who you are in this. Every time you're critical of yourself, every time you are judging yourself, every time you are thinking it's all my fault, every time you're like, I wasn't good enough, I wasn't pretty enough, I wasn't smart enough, I wasn't handsome enough, whatever it is for you, stop. Say, there's an interesting thought. Would I really think that about myself, right? Truly, sometimes, yeah, you're sitting around not looking your best. Okay, sure, whatever, right? Or sometimes, yeah, you're grumpy, whatever. That's human. I'm talking about regularly, on the regular, in life, as you are, as you've been for how many years? 25 years. My guess is no, that none of that was true. That was his way of keeping you under his thumb, in control, right? Of him having control of you. So yeah, you see this as logic, and you start focusing on your life and your path. What do you want for yourself, right? What do you want? Other than like not hurting over him, what do you want for your life? How do you see yourself? What kind of relationship do you want with yourself? How do you want to embody this body that you're living in and function in this life that you have? Right. And how do you relate to the world through that instead of through the psychology and the trauma that's been placed in you? You have no idea. And that is a beautiful place. So the very question you can ask yourself every day is, what would it be like to be me right now? Not in a sad, scary way, like in a super curious way. What would it be like to be me right now? I wonder, right? Like, in staying in that wonder and staying in that forward movement of your own life that keeps you open from your core, from your heart, from your intuition of what you know is right for you. And you don't know what it is right now because you're locked up here in the trauma neural pathway. Okay. And that's okay. It's where you are. And so, in order to change that, we start creating a new neural pathway. And the very question, take a breath, exhale. On the exhale, feel your chest open up, feel your heart being there for yourself, like you would a friend. Okay, imagine a person you love, an animal you love, a television character, whatever, like a book character, anything that makes you feel a little bit of connection. Imagine that. And that's what you're doing for yourself. Exhale and think, I wonder what it would be like to be me right now. Wonder what I'm thinking. Because just that question, don't answer it. Just stay in the question. It helps you. After trauma bonding, how do I retrain my brain? I'm giving you some hints. Okay. And you start now. You don't wait for trauma bonding to heal. You just jump in. It is almost always about finding self. Almost always. Okay, that's a pretty high number, right? It's almost always about creating a life for yourself that is different from what you thought it was. It is almost always about learning to function from self-compassion rather than the trauma. Okay, so understanding they're so off kilter is a game changer, isn't it? Absolutely. It's understanding them and learning who you are, two separate things. Okay. And the more you start understanding who you are, and the more you start really understanding who they are, how they function. And when I say they, I'm talking about people who don't have empathy. I'm talking about people who will continually have toxic relationships their entire life. Okay, because they function from that toxic place. They don't wish to do what I'm suggesting to you, which is self-awareness, self-discovery, self-compassion, and then expanding that compassion into the world. They don't wish to do that. Okay, and they don't wish to do that because they lack the empathy in their brains to have that peace that extends it into the world. Okay. And so the more you become you and the more you see them as who they are, the wider it gets. And the wider it gets, the less there's a pull toward them. There might be interest and fascination and curiosity, but there's not a pull toward the emotional, like, please give me what you've never given me. You know what I mean? Like that, because that's how the relationship is. So a relationship with a narcissist is based on a depletion. It's based on uh, um, what's the word? Not a vacancy, but like a an absence that is always needing filling. And they give you drops. And every time they give you drops, wow, you feel amazing for 2 seconds, and you're also anxious at the same time, right? And so that isn't a way to function. And that is certainly not your birthright. Your birthright is to be your own person, to experience this life from a sense of self. And a narcissist doesn't let you have a sense of self because they need you to be what they tell you to be and to be a puppet and to be their perfect supply, even though there's no such thing, right? And that's that. So yeah, you keep focusing on you. And like that's why I say, if you guys need coaching or group coaching, please check it out. Even if you even if it doesn't work for you, at least it's something, it's a motion toward, something in your life that could give you guidance and focus for healing from this. So check it out in the description of each video, please, if you need that. I'm available. The group coaching is a fantastic group of people, and we're going to be shifting focus a little bit more toward having topics each session that I'll list in the community part of this YouTube, and so you'll know ahead of time what we're talking about. Not going to stick, like strict to it. If you have something of your own that's coming up, absolutely bring it. But we're going to focus. So if, say the topic is boundaries, well, that could be boundaries while you're trauma bonded, boundaries while you're leaving a toxic person, boundaries with toxic parents, boundaries in general. And it gives a focus for something to talk about that day that is healing, growth. And then what comes from that, I will be taking what comes from that to like create the next week's topics. And then I will list them ahead of time. So you guys know that if you want to join for that month, what's kind of going to be covered in loosely, right? Okay. So enough of that. So if you need it, go check it out. It is Tuesdays, Thursdays, 4:30 Pacific, Fridays, 11 Pacific. And it's $60 for 4 weeks. So you get all those meetings for that. Or you can attend just one offs as you choose within that for the same price. So it's like whatever you need, however it fits your life. All right. I'm going to have to go here in a second. I have someone to talk to in a minute. Anything else you guys need help with before I end this live stream? And I will come back and talk more, hopefully tomorrow, kind of continue this topic. I'm kind of on a trauma bond theme this week. And a lot of people coming to me asking for help with it, and asking for more videos about actually what the heck to do when you are trauma bonded, right? And how to get away from these relationships. So that's what we're doing for right now. But we are, as always, especially in the live streams, focusing on you, focusing on your healing, focusing on creating a better life and transforming your life, you guys. Okay, I will see you guys next time. Take care, and thumbs up, subscribe, share the videos, and let's keep talking. Okay, that's it. All right, bye. Oh, I promise puppies. I'll bring them tomorrow. Okay, bye.